Yo, what is up YouTube? It is your favorite backwards hat guy, and today I want to talk to you a little bit about some music video mistakes that you're probably making if you're just starting out. So let's dive right in. So I want to come out there and say it, like, I've definitely made these mistakes too, and some as recently as like a month ago. So I know by fixing these, it can actually make your production look more professional. So the first biggest thing that I see is always in the edit, and that's just adding unnecessary effects and random transitions that, you know, you just downloaded the pack for, so you had to find a way to use them. And I know with music videos, you just want to be flashy and show what you can do. But personally, I think every effect should have a justification and why it fits your concept. Here I have a very simple example where he says the words different colors in the song, and I just changed the colors in the actual video clip. Your justification doesn't have to be something complex, it just has to make sense. Which leads me into my next tip, which is having completely unplanned shoots. The smoothest shoots I've ever had were the ones with a schedule that were based around one idea. Your idea can revolve around something like the time of day that it's shot, the style of the location, or simple character developments. Whenever I create a treatment, I make sure to have all my locations figured out and what time of day I am filming them. I would say that that's probably the loosest you can be with your shooting plan. You might also want to know what kind of movements you're looking for and what you can comfortably accomplish with your gear. On the day of filming, things don't always go as planned. Knowing how to roll with the punches will eventually become second nature to you as a filmmaker. I have another video breaking down a narrative style shoot so you can learn how to put a little story into your music video. I'm not going to spend too much time on this tip, but if you want me to go more in depth, I can create another video. Just let me know in the comments. So recently I did a shoot where the locations had less than ideal lighting. Instead of just calling off these locations, I decided to add a little bit of light to help him pop out of the frame. There were also situations where I just put a little light to add a little color to the scene, and you can see that here. And lastly, we created a scene completely from scratch using headlights and a spotlight. These lighting setups took all of like 5 minutes to set up, and they just allowed me to actually use those locations instead of having to ditch them altogether. Mistake number 4, and I see this with a lot of beginners, is inconsistent color grading. I see this happen in music videos where the colors just look weird and off. I know inconsistencies happen a lot when you're shooting, especially when you're first starting out. But eventually, knowing your camera settings inside and out should be ingrained in your process. Learn to set your exposure, white balance, and frame rates all in camera so that you don't hate yourself when you're editing your footage. You want it to eventually just become second nature. Nobody wants to end up sitting in the editing room and fixing every shot because they messed up their color or their exposure. Also, when I see color grades, sometimes it just looks like a LUT has been thrown on there and that you didn't really have an idea of why you're using it anyway. I try to make each video that I shoot have its own style, so they all usually have a unique color grade that's not replicated through any of them. I always want my footage to look more like a movie, so the best way that I can do that is by having references. Particularly before shooting, I like to look through scenes of movies to look for inspiration. Then I try to match those looks with the real life locations. And that's what always gives me the color grades that invoke the emotions that I'm looking for. And actually my last mistake that has held me back a lot early on is just not shooting because I didn't have the right gear. We can all make excuses to reasons why we don't shoot something, but not having the right gear is just not a good enough excuse. If you want to make a career out of this, you got to shoot anything and everything. Just really get your hands dirty. Being able to identify the limitations in your gear is important, but I think you just have to try to make something work. Every time I just tried to do something, even though I didn't have the exact right equipment, I was still always happy with the results. Worst case scenario, you spend a little time on something that just doesn't end up working for you. So that just about wraps that up. Hopefully you can start staying away from those mistakes in your next shoots. Gently tap that like button and subscribe if you feel so inclined. My name's Ciprian, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. I just wanted to give a huge shout out to all those people that have been following along on my journey. I truly appreciate every minute you spend watching one of my videos. So for that, thank you.